The next thing we're going to talk about is harvesting your compost. So I have a bin, but you don't need to have a bin, you can just have a pile. People like to have bins because they're neater. You can see we're kind of in a residential area, so it keeps it neat. It's not messy looking for other neighbors. Sometimes it makes it easier. It keeps pets out of there. It keeps other vermin potentially out of there. So people lots of times like to use a bin. This is my bin, obviously, and I like this bin for a couple of reasons. But first and foremost, this bin is designed to harvest pulling up this door to harvest your compost, because the good material, the finished material, falls to the bottom of the bin. And so you're, in theory, supposed to be able to pull that out with a shovel. I think that's kind of hard. So this particular bin design has these clips on the side. It's in two halves, and you pull up this clip and this one and the two on the other side, and I can take it apart. So what I do is that you can see on the bottom here, you can see where the done compost is, and I will set it aside. I usually do this in the fall, so I would have put this back together, and then I will take all of this material here and I would turn it back into the bin. But because it's springtime and I don't want this in my vegetable garden area, I'm just going to turn this stuff out on the ground. We'll harvest the compost, and then I'll put the bin back over here and we'll talk about that. So I'm moving this material over here in the garden for a little bit, just to kind of store it until a bit later. But one thing I wanted to show you was, here is, you'll notice that this is dry, really dry, but you'll also notice that the food is, there's no food on top. The food is in the center. And so when I manage my bin, I dig a hole in these leaves and I dump my food in, and I'll show you that later. But I just wanted you to notice that there really isn't any food sitting on top. It's all underneath the top layer of leaves. And it's also really very moist. So you can see that, and this is not too wet. You want this to be wet. You have living critters in this compost pile, and that's what's breaking down the materials. So they need food, the leaves and the food, and they need water, just like you and I do. So just because it's kind of handy right now to see that, I thought I'd show that to you, and we can talk a little bit more about it later. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, as I said, is harvest the compost. So I've removed all the uncomposted material and put it to the side here. And now here is what we have left. This is about a year's worth of compost. So we're going to scoop it up and put it on this screen. It's a 1/4-inch screen, hardware cloth, and kind of unchunk it, and then shake it to get the fine stuff to fall into the stuff we want to fall into the wheelbarrow, and the rest of it we're just going to put right here. So we will do that again. And you just repeat this process until you've screened all your compost. Put a little more on there. So kind of basically what you have left here is twigs that I put in there. I break them up as I pick them up off the ground when they fall out of the trees for a little aeration. Gives it a little porosity so that you have air and space for water and air, and a piece of bark and some clumps of material that aren't quite done yet. There's leaves, stems, things like that. So that's really what you have left here, and you just put it back into your compost bin. And the next time you harvest, they'll probably be gone. You'll just have a new set of that kind of stuff that you'll be screening out. We've gotten all the finished compost out. and we screened it. It's ready to be used for plants, and we're going to put the bin back together. And again, this bin is really super nice because it goes together so simply by just running these clips down, which makes it easy to harvest and easy to put back together and just really super easy to use.